The Kansas City Chiefs. So for the Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions going into training camp this year, we all got to keep our eyes out on left tackle Donovan Smith. Because Donovan Smith, he was not looking good last year. And you know, Donovan Smith, he's not terrible. Like, he had some pretty solid years at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was just down all around last year. So hopefully he can probably bounce back with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs have a really good offensive line coach. They have a really good coaching staff. So I feel like they can get Donovan Smith playing at a serviceable level. But if they can't, I think they're going to be a little bit in trouble. Now, they did draft a offensive tackle named Wyan Morris in the third round out of Oklahoma. Now, he can play both tackle spots, so he's pretty much considered a swing tackle. And he has a lot of upside, but he's more of a developmental project right now as a rookie. So if he ends up starting at left tackle, then he has to end up being really good. And then you got Louis Niang. Now, he was a third round pick in 2020, and he started a couple of games in 2021, if I remember correctly. And then he ended up having a injury that he was still trying to get back from last year. So interested to see how this left tackle situation goes for Kansas City. Donovan Smith, he's one of those guys, like, you don't really know what you're going to expect from him. You just kind of banking on the fact that Kansas City has really good coaching. Now, they kind of got a position battle at cornerback, and it's not a bad position battle. Normally it's because one guy played bad, but both of these guys played pretty well as rookies. So we already know about L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, but who's going to be that other cornerback on the other side of L'Jarius Sneed? Now, Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams, both of these guys got significant playing times as rookies. Now, you know, the young rookie cornerbacks that everybody was kind of raving about last year for Kansas City in the playoffs. Well, these were the two guys that everybody was talking about, and they had some big plays and a lot of big moments for Kansas City. Now, they were a little bit up and down at times, but they were still pretty solid to be rookie cornerbacks. So those two guys are going to be slugging it out to see who's going to have the right to be that third cornerback on this roster behind McDuffie and Sneed. So you need to keep your eyes on that one. That's going to be a really good one. Now, Jalen Watson got more playing time, but it's not like Joshua Williams wasn't getting significant playing time as well. So they was getting rotated in and out at times, but you need to look out for that position battle for Kansas City. And then, what is the wide receiver position going to look like for the Chiefs this year? Okay, now, you lost Juju Smith-Schuster, which people like to try to downplay Juju Smith-Schuster like he's a bum, like he's not good. But you got to remember, didn't he lead Kansas City in receiving yards and their Super Bowl win over the Eagles this past year? Come on, man.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Give the man Juju Smith-Schuster some props. So you lose Juju Smith-Schuster, now you need somebody else to really take over. And one thing about Juju Smith-Schuster, he may not have been the best, but he was really consistent. He was pretty dependable. Now you do have MVS coming back, and MVS was pretty good last season. He kind of exceeded my expectations. So you know what you have at him. But who else is going to step up behind him? Who's going to be your true wide receiver one? Is it going to be Kadarius Toney? Kadarius Toney probably is the most talented receiver that they have on their team. This dude set the New York Giants rookie record in receiving yards in the game. When he's healthy and he's on the field, he's a monster. And he was trying to learn the offense, but Kansas City was still finding ways to get him involved. He had a big return in the Super Bowl this past year. And he's somebody that if you can give him the ball out in space, like, it's not going to be too many people that really are going to be able to tackle this man in the open field, because this dude is the human definition of a human joystick, or yeah, what they would call a human joystick, man, because this dude is really sticky. This man has incredible footwork. He has quick feet. He's really agile. He's just really slippery too. And also, he's a little bit tough too, despite his size. So Kadarius Toney, you give him the ball in the open field, he's going to be a nightmare for opposing secondaries. And the thing with him is, can he just stay healthy and, can he make good decisions and not get himself in trouble off the field? So Kadarius Toney is definitely a receiver that a lot of people have brought up a lot when it comes to people who could have a breakout season. But, we know about Sky Moore. You got rookie Rashee Rice, who I don't really know about, but the guy who I think people are kind of sleeping on, and I'm hoping that he ends up panning out, is Justin Ross. Now, a lot of people was hyping up Justin Ross because, he went undrafted last year, and the fact that this was somebody who was a projected first-round talent, and then he had that spinal injury that he had to miss a year for Clemson, and then he came back, and he was held back by the fact that, Clemson didn't really have a good offense or great quarterback play, and then he goes undrafted because people have concerns with his medicals. And then, when he gets to Kansas City, he ends up signing a pretty lucrative deal to be an undrafted free agent. And then he ends up making some really big plays during OTAs and minicamps. Like, there were several videos I remember of Kansas City posting during their minicamp sessions of Justin Ross making a lot of great plays. So it's interesting to see what Justin Ross is going to be this year, if he's even going to end up making the roster, because if he doesn't end the roster, if he doesn't end up making the roster, it's going to be really tough, man. Like, I can't really see him not making the roster unless, he was just a little bit overhyped, or maybe the fact that he's coming off another injury. Maybe he's just going to be one of those players that just struggles to stay healthy. But it's like, the talent most definitely is there. He was making plays last year. And then, they already bring in Richie James, which Richie James, I thought he was pretty solid for the New York Giants at times. He did come through for them boys in a couple of big moments. So I think the receiving core has a lot of talent. It's just, it's just a lot of unproven talent right now. And training camp is definitely going to be the proving ground for where those guys end up proving themselves. Now, players that I'm going to be watching outside of the receivers that I mentioned, I got to look at Clyde Edwards-Helaire, man. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, man, it's not looking good for him right now. Isaiah Pacheco has already overcome him on the depth chart. And then you got the fact that Jerick McKinnon's going to be back. So it's like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's not really able to stay healthy. It's like, even when he's on the field, it's like, he really ain't all that great. And it's like, I don't know, maybe if he doesn't do good during training camp this year, maybe he could end up getting released. But I don't really know, because it's like, he needs to show something. And it's like, he's going to have a lot of opportunities to prove himself during the preseason, because I don't really think that Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon are going to get as many carries. And honestly, I feel like they could probably put him in a situation where he gets a bulk load of work in the preseason, because he has to prove himself. This man was a former first-round pick, and he hasn't played like it at all. Now, he's been okay at times, but, when you draft somebody in the first round, you're expecting somebody to be really good, and he's not really good. He's been kind of average at best, so he needs to kind of prove himself during training camp. And that's about it for the Kansas City Chiefs, man. So let me know what you guys are going to be looking at for the Kansas City Chiefs throughout training camp. What are going to be some positions that you're looking at, some key players that you're going to be looking at that I might not have touched on during this.